Oop. Hey, Math 10 class. We're going to be starting a new unit right now, and it's going to be about our finance unit. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about are wages and salary. A lot of this unit is going to be about vocabulary, and there are going to be some calculations involved with it, but it's pretty practical and some things. Since I know many of you have jobs, that a lot of these things you will already know, but it'll be new for some people. Okay, and it's always good to have a little bit of refresher on this stuff. So, anyways, our first thing that we're going to talk about on our finance unit is wages and salary. So, we're going to go over some vocab. So, the first thing is the term minimum wage, and I'm sure that many people understand what this means. But minimum wage is the minimum amount a worker can be paid an hour. Okay, so um, most probably of you have jobs where you're paid an hour, and there is a guideline that says this is the minimum that you are legally allowed to pay someone per hour. Now, there are other jobs where you don't have to get paid per hour. Like you can be a fruit picker. You can work in a vineyard and pick grapes, and you're usually paid by how many kilos of fruit you pick. Even though that number is set and given to you, it has to work out that you are making at least minimum wage. Okay, so it cannot be you get half a cent for every kilo of grapes that you pick, because under reasonable circumstances, that person will never be able to make minimum wage. Right, so it has to be a number that is the equivalent to minimum wage. And that goes for like all types of pay as well, so salary and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, our next one is gross pay. It is the total amount of money earned. Okay, so for example, if you worked for 2 hours and you get paid $16 an hour, then that means you should be making your gross pay would be $32. Okay. Now, what net pay is, now these kind of work together. Net pay is the amount paid after deductions. So if $32 was your gross pay, then your net pay, you might have to pay a little bit of tax. You might need to pay some employment insurance. You might need to pay some whatever other kind of your CPP, your Canadian pension plan. You might need to pay all of that kind of stuff into your deductions. So if your gross pay was $32, your net pay might be, say, $25. Okay, and so this would be your net pay. Okay, it's the amount after you have your deductions. Okay, the next one right here is pay statement. It is a statement an employer gives an employee. So an employer is like kind of like the boss, gives an employee who is like a worker, that shows the um, wage. Oops. And money from earnings for defined pay period. So what this means is that when you get like your money from a job, you should be getting a pay statement, a piece of paper that shows you why you're getting this much money, how many hours you worked, and between when, what is the pay period? So if it was between March 1st and March 15th, that would be your pay period. Okay. And it show a breakdown of why you're getting the amount that you're getting. Now, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can get paid. Okay, so one way you can get paid is semi-monthly, and semi-monthly means twice a month. Getting paid bi-weekly is getting paid every 2 weeks. Now, a lot of people think, whoa, like semi-monthly and bi-weekly are the exact same thing, and they're close, but they're not the same thing. So how this works out is that in 1 year, there are 12 months. If you're getting paid twice a month, then that means you get, well, two times this, you get 24 paychecks. Bi-weekly, well, there's 52 weeks a year. If you're getting paid once every 2 weeks, that means you have to divide this by two. That means you're going to be getting 26. 52 divided by 2 is 26 paychecks. So if you're getting paid semi-monthly, you get paid less often. And if you get paid bi-weekly, you get paid more often. Now, it doesn't mean you get paid more if you're paid bi-weekly. What it means is that this person who gets paid semi-monthly, their paychecks will be bigger. This person who gets paid bi-weekly, their paychecks will be smaller but more frequent. They'll get twice a year. So this person could be making, the semi-monthly person could be making $50,000 a year, and the bi-weekly person could be also making $50,000 a year. Okay, so they're making the same amount of money per year. The person who gets paid semi-monthly, if I go 50,000, I have my calculator beside me, 50,000 divided by 24, that means each paycheck is, for this person, $2,083. Okay, and 33 cents. And for this person right here, so they're going to be $50,000 divided by 26 paychecks. They'll be only getting $1,923, okay, and 8 cents for every paycheck. But they'll be getting two more paychecks, and that'll make up the difference. So they get paid the exact same amount, just this person gets paid more often. Okay, so now that we have understand some of these terms, and we're going to be adding onto our vocabulary every lesson, we're going to do some basic questions right here, and see how that goes. So first question we have right here, it says Marcus works as an electrician and earns $24.68 an hour. It takes him 15 hours for one job. How much will he earn? We're going to pretend that he did that 15-hour job over the course of 2 days. And because we'll be talking about overtime pay and all that kind of stuff later on. So first off, wage is equal to dollars per hour. Okay. So what we want to know is what is the how much money did he make? Okay. So we want to know, I'm just going to grab my highlighter. We want to know the dollars. We know what the wage is. The wage is $24.68. We know what the hours are. The hours are 15. Okay, so I'm going to plug in those numbers into our formula. So it's going to be 24.68 equals our dollars over 15, and then I just multiply both sides by 15. Okay, this cancels out with this one, and so I'm left with 15 times 24.68 equals our dollar value. So I take my calculator and I go 15 times 24.68 equals, and I get 370.2. Now that 0.2 means 20 cents, so I can write 0.20. So that's how much money this person makes right here. The next one right here, it says Charlie works for a lawn care company. In 1 week, he worked 34 hours cutting lawns. His gross income was $329. What was his hourly wage? So again, we have our formula: wage equals dollars per hour. We know the hours, 34. We know the dollars, 329.12. So I'm going to plug that into my formula. Wage equals 329.12 over 34. Wage equals, now I go 329.12 divided by 34 equals, and I get 9.68. So that's $9.68 per hour. Okay, next one. Isaac was hired to be an office clerk at an insurance company. His annual salary is $34,756. Would he earn more each pay period if you were paid semi-monthly or bi-weekly? Okay, so first off, annually, he gets this much money. So they want to know during each pay period, will he get paid more or less? Okay, so as a year goes, he gets the exact same amount. But let's take a look at semi-monthly. And then we'll take a look at bi-weekly. Okay. Now, we talked about up here that, oops. We talked about out here is that semi-monthly is 12 months and 52 weeks, or in other words, 24 paychecks versus 26 paychecks. So here, semi-monthly is going to be 34,756. And that gets divided over 24 paychecks. Bi-weekly, he gets the exact same amount of money. And but it'll be over 26 paychecks. So he's not making more money per year either way. He just gets more money per one. And if you know math, you can see that the 24 is a smaller number, so you kind of already have an idea of what the answer is going to be. But if we want to actually know, so 34,756 divided by 24 equals, we get $1,448, and I get 16.66 cents, or in other words, we can just say 17 cents. And same thing, 34,756, but this time over 26 pay periods. And then these checks right here would be $1,336.76.9. I'm going to round that up to 77 cents. Okay. So they get paid more per pay period with this one right here. Okay. Now we're going to take another one and we're going to look at uh, pay statements. So this is an example of a pay statement right here. This is a very, very small pay statement. So a lot more detail would be probably if you get a pay statement for your job, it'll probably have a lot more detail in yours than this one. But we're gonna start off with some basic pay statements first. Anyways, it says each summer Dakota works at the South Okanagan Event Center as a parking lot attendant. His wages are $9.82 an hour, and his hours of work vary from week to week. He worked 35 hours for the week September 12th to 18th, and 20 hours for the week of September 19th to the 25th. Dakota's pay statement is shown. Um, okay, so the first thing you should do when you have a pay statement is you should be checking your own pay statement to see if there are any, um, uh, if it's correct or not. Okay, so if I'm looking at my pay statement, this is how I would be checking my pay statement. The first thing I would do is I would take a look at my pay statement and go like, okay, 35 hours and 20 hours. So I worked a total of 55 hours. Okay, so again, I'm going to write my formula right here and say wage equals dollars per hour. My wage is $9.82 equals dollars over 55 hours times both sides by 55, and I get the dollar value is equal to, so I'm going to go 9.82 times 55 equals, and I get 540.10. So here is my the amount of money that I should be getting. The amount of money that I should be getting for my pay, and then here it says for gross. That means before any taxes or anything like that. I only have $490. I'm pretty confident that I did this one right. So now I need to read through my pay statement to figure out, is there something wrong? Okay. And this is very common for people to make mistakes on pay statements, and you don't want to have this happen to you. So you should be checking your pay statements over regularly. So first they have my wage. Okay. Looks good. $9.82. That's good. My pay periods. So I should be at 55 hours. That's good right there. And here looks like when this transferred over, it looks like the person who typed in the wage, instead of writing 982, they wrote 892. Okay, so they typed into the wage incorrectly. This number is wrong. And so this part right here is the mistake. So in my lifetime, I've probably had like 3 or 4 different mistakes on my pay statements, and I've had to correct them. And so it's a really good habit to look at your pay statements, because I would say uh, a lot of people have seen or experienced some kind of mistake in at least one of their jobs that they've ever had. And so it's good practice to be looking at for these mistakes. Okay. Last question. A time card. So Antonio is a cashier in a store. He earns $15.85 per hour and works what is called a split shift, when a work day is split into 2 time blocks. So sometimes people have jobs where they will work in the mornings, they get like a couple hours off in the middle of the day, and then they'll work in the evenings. His time card for 1 week is shown right here. How many hours did he work? So right here, we see he works here to here. And so that's from 9 to 11:45. So that's going to be 9, 10, 11. So that's 2 hours and 45 minutes. 2 hours and 45 minutes. My writing seems to be kind of going a little bit funky right there. And then he has from 12:45 to 3. So that's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these things up. So we have 4 hours, and so we have 5 hours total right here. Okay. Remember, 45 minutes, if you wanted to write 2 hours and 45 minutes, you could write it as 45 minutes is the same as 0.75 hours. And I'll show you in a little bit. So it'd be 2.75. And then 2 hours and 15 minutes. 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. And so it'd be 2.25 hours. So when we add these up, it's going to equal to 5. Now, we'll see something right here. This is going to be 8:45 to 10:45. That's going to be 2 hours. And this is going to be from 2 to 5:30. That's going to be 3 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. Or in other words, that's 3.5 hours. So for here, it's going to be 2 plus 3, so that's going to be 5. And 30 minutes is a half hour, so we must write 0.5. So 5.5 hours. Okay. So our total, how many hours did he work in total? It's going to be 10.5 hours. It's better to write as a decimal of hours and don't add up the minutes. Okay. Don't write 10 hours and 30 minutes. It just kind of mess up your calculation a little bit. Now, how much did he earn that week? So now that we're going to do this, we're going to go same thing. Wage equals dollars over hours. So wage is going to be 15.85 equals dollars over the amount of hours, 10.5. I multiply both sides by 10.5. And so I go 15.85 times 10.5. And I get 166.425. They're not going to give me a half cent, so it's going to go 166.43, and that would be how much I make as my gross earnings. So that's before they have to pay their taxes, their employment insurance, their Canadian pension, and all those kinds of things. Okay, and we'll talk about those kinds of things later. Okay. Once you feel comfortable with this, you can start to write your quiz and go from there.